We saw something which concerned us on your initial blood work, so we ran some additional tests.
Some blood tests.
What kind of blood test? I don't use drugs.
We didn't test your blood for drugs.
I'm good. Thanks. Any other business?
That's right. You've tested positive for HIV, which is the virus that causes AIDS.
You fucking kidding me? Talking about that fucking rock cocksucking Hudson bullshit.
That's Matthew McConaughey in his Oscar-winning role as Ron Woodruff in the Dallas Buyers Club, a movie that was also nominated for Best Picture in this last Academy Awards of 2013, and lost out to 12 Years a Slave. Another great film. I believe this film is equally great. I may have even enjoyed it slightly more, being that it's just a little less heavy-handed and a little less sentimental. Although 12 Years a Slave could have been so much more heavy-handed and sentimental given its subject matter, and was a fine film. I give them both 3.5 stars. Not flawless 4-star movies, but two of the best films I've seen all year, if not the two best. This one's been out for a minute on DVD and even longer in theaters, so you've probably already seen it. But if you haven't, check it out. 3.5 stars for me is a really good review. McConaughey definitely earned his Oscar. His performance is amazing. People used to talk about Christian Bale losing all that weight for that movie The Machinist, which was pretty impressive, although crappy movie. Here, he does it in the, service of a great film. And man, he does as good as Bale as far as getting down. He looks like he has AIDS. Either that or he should be an extra on Walking Dead. I mean, he just looks sickly. His eyes are floating in his, skull of a head, and just look at him. He looks like Ichabod Crane or something. But anyhow, a great performance. Jared Leto took home an Academy Award for Supporting Actor, and he does a decent job. It's his best performance ever, but that's not saying much. I've never been a fan of Jared Leto. Even in the overrated Requiem for a Dream, I thought he was miscast and not that good. Lord of War, I don't know, he's always bland. He's also a super pretty boy, and I'm, being an ugly white male, I'm very averse to pretty white boys. Brad Pitt, some of them, they win me over if they're really good actors, but Jared Leto, not the case. Here he's decent. I don't know if he deserves Best Supporting Actor. He makes a pretty drag queen. He makes the perfect guy to make into a drag queen. He turns in a fine performance. It's just not great. Jennifer Garner's the weakest link is the acting in the film. She's a horrible actress, in my opinion. At least in movies like Daredevil, the movie's already bad around her, and it's kind of a B film anyway, with a glorified budget. So who cares? She looks hot in a skin-tight superhero outfit. Here, she's wearing like a doctor's smock like the entire film. So if they're going to just have her look frumpy, get some frumpy-looking actress that can actually act. I'm sure she's a great wife and mother to Ben Affleck, but she's just not much of an actress. And this movie, with its great performances and being such a superior drama, better than most lately, her bad acting stands out all the more so. I'm going to quick skip this scene. It might get bowdy. Bowdy. Is that the word? There's as much drug use in this film as there was in The Wolf of Wall Street, so all you that enjoyed that horrifically horrible movie, you'll get your drug usage here. Look, he's doing just as much coke as Leo and the gang did in that piece of shit. But here you actually have a great story with engaging characters. McConaughey starts out as a homophobe, but come on, it's 1985 and he lives in Dallas, Texas. What's to be expected? His character is still sympathetic once he goes through his character arc and opens up to the gay community because he finds himself surrounded by him, being that he's battling AIDS. For a minute, I thought they could have made a dark comedy about him as this, homophobe that gets AIDS and ends up being surrounded by the gay community. But that probably wouldn't have lasted an entire film. It would have worn thin, and I don't know, what am I looking at? Like a Vic Morrow, Twilight Zone movie from the 80s type theme where the racist becomes the victim of racism. I'm getting off on a tangent. It's fine as a drama. It's a true story. Best served up as it is. And there's still plenty of comedy. Opening scene is hilarious. I laughed more than I laughed at Wolf of Wall Street. But that's just me. Griffin Dunn plays a doctor down in Mexico. The main plot is McConaughey, once he gets AIDS, he's given 30 days to live. He declares he'll live much longer than that, and I'm not going to give it away, but he probably does. He goes down to Mexico, discovers Griffin Dunn, who I got to tell you, I realized I haven't seen that guy in a while. I loved him in the 80s and 90s, and it's good to see him back. He's getting older, but he turns in a great performance as this kind of hippie, cool doctor who's down there with a clinic using experimental drugs, and AZT is the big drug at the time, and he declares it's bad, and McConaughey gets off it and tries some other stuff. He ends up smuggling it in and starting the Dallas Buyers Club, wherein People can buy a subscription for $400 a month and then get all the drugs they need, and that way he's not outright selling the drugs and circumvents the loophole of being an actual drug dealer. But of course, the FDA is trying to get him shut down, and we hear about the evils of the FDA and how they're just in bed with the pharmaceutical companies, and it's all about money, which America always is. And hey, that's fine. We're a capitalist country, but it shows some of the evils of that and doesn't shine a nice light on the FDA, and good. So you get some interesting knowledge, true stories, some good comedy, some good drama, and some good music. It turns out that Jared Leto's character is a huge T-Rex fan and loves Mark Bolan. Was Mark Bolan gay? I guess he was. Anyway, who cares? But there's some nice T-Rex music in it. Again, the only flaws, I wish it would open its scope more. For a movie that takes place in Dallas, I never see Dallas. Beyond the character's southern drawl, I wouldn't know where it took place. I like when a movie takes place in a city that I'm really not familiar with. I like to see more of the city, get a feel for it. This movie, even that takes place in the mid-'80s, doesn't have much of a feel for the period as well. It doesn't really step wrong with the clothes or anything, but I wanted a little more. But a great film makes you, I'm looking for any little flaw. Again, biggest flaw, Garner. Second flaw, maybe open up the scope. I mean, he's even in Japan at one scene, and we get nothing of Japan, not one shot of the land of the rising sun. He's in Mexico, and I think we get a shot of a palm tree and him walking into like a clinic. So any flaws, it could have done a little more with its locations, and it could have replaced Jennifer Garner with an actress that actually can act. Other than that, great film, 3.5 stars. If you haven't already seen it, check it out. It's one of the best of the last year. Until next time, thanks for joining me on the Kris Kondrad Movie Review Show.